Okay, so hey everybody. I just wanted to do a little video here to welcome in the new decade, 2020, the 2020s. Hopefully, this will be a great time for a lot of things. I believe that it will be a great time for science, invention, technology, exploration, development, the arts, music. Uh, I think this is going to be one of the best decades ever, frankly. And there's a lot going on. I know I've been sitting and thinking a lot about what I would like to accomplish with the next 10 years of my life. And the list is very long. And I don't think it's unrealistic to aspire to certain things. I don't think it's beyond our collective grasp to achieve certain things. Um, I think it's going to be really interesting. Let's just leave it at that. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on right now in the world of Donald Trump and how difficult it must be for him to be in the position that he's in right now. Really don't envy him, frankly, and I think he's doing the best that he can with kind of a bad situation that was handed to him, which is, the responsibility of protecting us versus, uh, striking a balance between protecting us and I, I'm not sure, honestly, if there's, let's see, I sort of wanted to encourage him, basically. If Mr. Trump, you're watching, I wanted to encourage you that I understand that you might be going through some very serious difficulty right now in terms of uh, moral dilemmas, because let's be honest, taking people out as a matter of security is not, you know, not an easy decision to have to be forced to make. And, it's not really your fault that these things exist in one way or the other. It's, these problems existed before the founding of America, frankly, and we're just kind of trying to muddle our way through it and make the best of a bad situation, because we're in a position to try to do something. But I can understand that it might be difficult. Um, but I just wanted to say that if you put the principles first that our Constitution uh, has espoused since 1789, just think about those principles ultimately first and foremost before making any decisions about anything, because what is most important is that we do the right thing for the American people. And if we're in any way overstepping the constitutional God-given rights of the American people, then we have become the problem. and we should never do that. We don't ever want to become the problem. We want to help alleviate the problem and be part of the solution, right? I mean, we've seen what happened all the way up to Vietnam, and which led to the abolition of the draft. We've seen what happened with later conflicts, particularly Iraq, which I myself was of military age during. However, I stayed out of it by sheer determination and being very creative and imaginative when it came to making a living. Because I found myself completely ostracized from the financial system ultimately when that conflict came around, and I chose not to get involved and support it. Um, we should never allow ourselves to be used to perpetuate such things ever again onto the American people, um, in violation of their consciences, their freedom of choice, right to make a living, all these things that ultimately come from God. We must never become opposed to that, because that means we're part of the problem. Does that make sense? Um, so I would just encourage you. I know that Mr. Trump, you love the United States, and that's obvious. But I would encourage you just to really, you know, research and understand our Constitution a little bit harder, a little bit better, because the American people don't deserve to have another conflict forced upon them, and our young people don't deserve to be used as cannon fodder because they can't get a decent job uh, doing something else. We don't need to make decisions that could potentially lead to conflicts, bigger conflicts. If we're going to do things that might be, you know, controversial, like blowing up Iranian generals, um, I like to think that there's a better way than doing that uh, in a manner that incites people to hatred towards the United States and towards American people and our allies and friends and family around the world. I think it might be making the world more dangerous. Now, that's not to say I don't understand the dilemma that you're being faced with, but it's precarious. It's a very precarious situation. I'm not even going to say that I disagree with what happened. I frankly don't. But I just think we can approach things more intelligently and more carefully, and without bringing undue attention to ourselves. Does that make sense? It does to me. And I want to applaud Mr. Trump for having your heart in the right place but I think we need to use our mind a bit differently, our minds a bit differently. But yeah. So who's got some questions? What do I think about the time traveler Michael Phillips? I think it's really interesting that he foretold I would be running for president when I knew before I ever saw that video that I would be running for president. So I think maybe he might be onto something. Maybe he is a time traveler. I have never met Michael Phillips. He and I have chatted briefly, actually, in the comment section of some of these videos. He says he and I have met. I think that's possible. Maybe I was a child at the time. I did, my family are from Europe, and so I have actually spent some time in England and other parts of Europe. So I can't tell you the lottery numbers because I don't have them. If I did, I probably wouldn't anyway. I would probably maybe just go buy a lottery ticket. Haha, just kidding. Oliver, will I be the president in 2024? I hope so because, you know, I think if I'm not, then probably someone really horrible will get into the office, and we can't afford to take those kind of risks anymore. It's just the world is not, and the country is not able to sustain the kind of bad decision making that a crazy person or someone who isn't totally aware of everything all the time would or could make. So, and I believe I am not like that. I trust me. Um, yes, Shane, I have 1,000 subscribers. Thanks to everybody for subscribing and supporting what I'm doing. By doing so, I appreciate it. I can follow you on Instagram. If you follow me, I'll follow you back. How does that sound? This is a Q&A. I'm answering questions. I've answered a bunch of questions. Give you some money if I'm elected as president. That's not a question. How about get a job? I don't know. Start a business. I mean, it might succeed. One never knows. What do I think on the possibilities of World War III? I hope World War III never happens, and I hope that nothing triggers it. I think these are obviously very precarious times still that we live in, but I think that if we're smart, we use our heads, we really can avoid such a thing. Can I talk about my childhood? What do you want to know about my childhood? Like, ask a question. I'll try to answer it. That was a long time ago. I'm 45. I've grown up since I was a child. I'm not the same person I was even 20 years ago. So even 10 years ago, I you know, I'm constantly changing, and I learn, I grow, um, and I'm definitely not the same person I was even 10 years ago. Lottery numbers. Why do you guys want to know lottery numbers? I'll tell you some lottery numbers. Bitcoin is currently worth $7,000. So if you guys just even buy some, buy a fraction of a Bitcoin and just sit on it for 10 years or 5 years, you'll have plenty of money, I believe. It's statistically impossible. Bitcoin has increased by 9 million% in the last 10 years. So if you spent $1 on Bitcoin 10 years ago, you'd have $9 million right now. So let that sink in. And it shows no signs of slowing down. So get yourself $1 worth of Bitcoin. Maybe in 5 years you'll have, you know, $4.5 million. Yeah, I remember plenty of things at the age of 5. Uh, at the age of 5, I lived in Calgary, Alberta, for the entire year of my age 5 in Canada. Um, that's where I first, as I've stated in prior videos and recordings, where I first have had encountered, that I remember, um, extraterrestrial beings and advanced technology that I couldn't explain with anything that had been taught to me up to that point, or since really from any conventional source of learning or education. Um, I believe that I encountered ETs, and I also encountered uh, elements of the advanced secret space programs that have been in existence for decades now. Do I plan to be the president of the United States in the future? Um, do I plan to be? I'm not sure that's something anyone can plan for, frankly. I think it's just something that most people who end up in that position as of late just seem to kind of walk into and are selected for it in some way because nobody else is able to do the job. I think it takes a very sort of unique kind of personality and person to be able to do that job. And guys, I kind of am an oddball. I'm not really like anybody else. I'm pretty different. So I mean, I have some things I believe in common with some other people, and a few of them are or have been presidents or are seeking to be so in the future. So it's kind of weird. I'm not really like anybody else, or not like very many people. Is it true that I will run for the 2024 elections? I hope I can get the support to do that. And if I can get the support to do that between now and then, I certainly will. If I don't get the support, I might have to just support myself. So I'm also working on that. Um, there are time travelers that have said I will be president in 2024, including myself, because as I've said prior, I have been exposed to time travel and I've seen travel to a future point and looked at the historic record of that time and seen myself. It's that simple. No, I don't know Ricardo Tomas. If you could tell me who that is, I'd appreciate it. Hi, Jada. Yeah, I mean, 18 for is, in my opinion, old enough for any job. Should be old enough for any job. So, am I the time traveler, Michael Phillips? No, I am not. Have you heard? Have you guys heard my English accent? It's really bad. Hello, I am. Let me try. Let me try pretend to be Michael Phillips. Okay, this you can see how bad I do Michael Phillips. Hello, my name is Michael Phillips. I am a time traveler from the year 2072. Is that? What is that? What he said? Obviously, I'm not him. I mean, seriously. Oh, peace. Big enough. Yeah, I don't have an English accent. I think you can tell from. I think you can tell. I grew up in the Northeast United States, mostly Massachusetts, mostly. Um, Sounds like him without a deep voice changer. Well, that's an interesting theory, but it's just not true. I'm not Michael Phillips. I've never met Michael Phillips. I don't know him. I mean, he says I met. He says he and I have met. Maybe he's traveled around and met me when I was younger or something. I don't know. Or knows has met my older self. I really don't know. Uh, Jada, just send me a resume or something. I'd like to know a bit more about you. You can send it to my website. So you can email me there. There's contact information. Just send me an email, and if you have a resume or something to email me to know more about you, I'd like to before we before I could say yes or no if I was going to hire you for something. It's that simple, right? Um, am I a time traveler myself? I would not say that I am. Excuse me, I'm a little tired. I would not say that I am a time traveler. I would say that I have done that. It's not something that I do as a regular practice. What I do right now is that uh, I'm a musician. I'm a business person. I'm a minister. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. Uh, I just became a lawyer, and there are a lot of things that I used to do. I have a pretty lengthy resume. I've been very active since as far back as I can remember in a lot of different things, and I've done a lot of different stuff with my life. How can he meet me? Who wants to meet me? Somebody wants to meet me? Well, I'll be coming to your town probably, I guess, eventually. So we can meet then, I'm sure. I'd be happy to meet you and, can go for coffee or something. I hope you guys like coffee because if we're going to meet up, that's what I drink. And I do like beer. So if you're old enough to drink beer, maybe we can have a beer together. Um, I know Trump doesn't drink any alcohol, but guys, I can't live without beer. I'm telling you, gotta have a beer every once in a while, at least. Bonnie from Family Guy. Hey, Peter. Well, that's a New England accent. Family Guy, Peter Griffin. I grew up with hundreds and possibly thousands of Peter Griffins. Um, Peter Griffin was my neighbor as a kid. I don't live in New England anymore, by the way, guys. I moved out a while ago. I moved to first Pennsylvania. Then I bought a place in. Uh, well, I have places all over the country now. I have a place in Texas, Wyoming, another in California, and I'm working on other stuff. I like real estate, by the way. I forgot to mention that. That's another thing that I'm interested in is real estate. I am a builder, by profession. I am a carpenter. I was a union carpenter for 5 years, so graduated my apprenticeship, and yeah, I like to build and fix up real estate and make things nice. I'm an artist, really, by nature. Jokes, yeah. Um, yes, I do remember people I met, and I've talked about that at great length in other videos and radio shows that are on my website. So feel free to check that out if you like. No, I did. Stilo, when I was talking about remote viewing Mars, I was not talking about astral projection. I was talking about remote viewing. Um, I did remote view the surface of Mars when I was teleported to Mars. I also did chronovise, which is like looking backward and in time, looking backward and forward in time. But I used it to look backward and see what Mars used to be like. It had a civilization on it at one point, and there are remnants of it still there. So I don't know Michelle Ngo. I don't know that name. I don't. Uh, do, I I believe I am Russia going to be the next U.S. president. I don't know if Donald Trump's going to be happy about that because maybe he's seeking a third term, or uh, as he probably has the right to do so since his first term is essentially null and void because of the shenanigans of the Congress. Any real estate advice? Yeah, I do actually. Just buy land, just land. You know, don't buy any, like, the best thing you can buy is land, just land, because you don't have to maintain it. You don't have to do anything to land. You can just leave it there, and you can do something with it later if you want. But what I was thinking about real estate today, actually, and yesterday, is that I want to start a fund for the renovation of Detroit. I know there are a lot of $1 homes there that are just, derelict, basically. If you guys out there want to chip in, maybe we can raise, a few $1,000s. Let's try. I don't know how many $1 homes there are in Detroit. I've actually never been to Detroit. Um, I would like to go, and I would like to ask you guys for help. If we can somehow raise like $20,000, maybe, to buy up all of the $1 homes in Detroit and just go in and bulldoze them and clean up Detroit that way. And then we can just let go of the land. Let's let it go back to nature and not own it. Just leave it. Have a nice clean fresh start for the city. What do you guys think of that idea? So, you guys want to contribute to the cleanup of Detroit, A dollar goes a long way. If you guys want to send me a dollar, I'll buy a dollar home for each dollar that you send me in Detroit and figure out a way to get it bulldozed. What do you guys think of that idea? I think that would be fantastic. I don't know when I will be in Las Vegas next. Maybe for a concert, actually, at some point. Could be this year, actually. What do I think about Andrew Yang? I haven't researched his platform enough to have an opinion on Andrew Yang, but hi, Andrew, if you're watching this. Remote viewing is sort of looking and observing what's going on around you without using your eyes, sort of projecting a little bit, not really, but sort of. Um, like if I close my eyes, I can still kind of see what's going on around me. I know a lot of people can't do that, but I can. I can kind of perceive, even see with my mind's eye, so to speak, what's going on through like behind walls and things. What do I think about Muslims? I don't tend to put people in categories like that. I'm not that kind of, I don't think the world is that simplistic. I think, Muslims are people, and there are good ones and bad ones. I don't believe in Islam, um, or at least in, yeah, I mean, I have read the Quran, frankly. I've studied a lot of different belief systems and haven't read it in its entirety, but a lot of it. And there are things in there that I disagree with. I don't believe that, the God I believe in would never uh, teach such things that are explicitly taught in the Quran. Um, so I kind of have issue with that. I have a lot of questions about that for Muslims, and I just wonder if people even read the Quran. Frankly, I think that the idea of praying to Mecca is. I don't think that has any relevance to Islam. I think that whatever that is, it's not Islamic. I think it's something else, and whatever people perceive as Islam, I don't really think that it's necessarily what it really is. I don't think even Muslims know what really a lot of the time Islam is. I think people who say they're Muslims, I don't think they really know what they're doing when it comes to practicing it, or don't really know what they're believing in, if they even believe in it, frankly. I think that, praying to Mecca is it's a form of idolatry, I think, and I think that is prohibited by Islamic teachings. So it's sort of why, how is that considered Islam? It's almost like praying to a cross when Jesus didn't even die on a cross, and he definitely didn't want Christians to be engaging in idolatry. So it's kind of the same thing. It's all, where did that come from? It doesn't really have roots in Islamic teaching, just as the cross and praying to a cross doesn't have any roots in real Christian teaching. So it's all very confusing to me. I wonder why people engage in any of that stuff, because my understanding of God is very different, and that you can have a direct relationship with God without bothering with any of that kind of stuff. So, do I want to take Trump's place? Frankly, no, but I think someone has to, and it has to be someone who is, sane and smart and has a sound mind and understands the way things need to go and the way our government needs to conduct itself if we're going to really be of service to the people. Um, I believe that I'm able to to understand and do all of that. So here I am. No, I can't just send you $1 million to Russia. Um, sorry. My thoughts on immigration. I think that there needs to be a rational approach to immigration. Frankly, I don't think we can just kind of take people into the country without checks and balances, and I don't think our country can sustain this uh, continued immigration into it. I think that, you know, instead of bringing the whole world to America, why not bring America to the whole world? That's my approach. That's my thinking on it. Um, if so many people want to live in the United States, then why don't we make the world like the United States? Or, I mean, we can improve as well. There's no denying that, but why don't we try to help somehow and encourage people around the world to learn more about what we're doing in this experiment of ours. Um, let's see, who's from TikTok? I am not from TikTok. That you're milking it, but chill, we're not that gullible. Yeah, um, I'm not trying to milk anything actually. So, and I'm not trying to trick anybody or anything. I'm just telling you what I believe and um, what I've experienced and where I'm trying to go and what I'm trying to do. And if you guys want to support that, that's great. If not, that's fine too. I don't, you know. Okay, if we all donate $1, that's $19. Let's do it, guys. Yeah. Well, $19 is 19 houses in Detroit that can get bulldozed. 19 $1 homes that can get bulldozed, and we can start cleaning up Detroit. Because from what I've seen on videos of Detroit, photographs, and real estate sites, and that kind of thing, Detroit needs our help. So let's get it together, right? Let's help Detroit, please, because it really is kind of embarrassing. First of all, and secondly, it's just dangerous to have a city in that condition. All right. What year am I from? I was born in 1974. I'm definitely spiritual. I am a Christian minister. I have been one for 20 years now. So yeah, I definitely I don't consider myself to be religious in the sense that most people today mean religious. Um, maybe in the the older sense of the word religious, like 1770s meaning of the word. But in the 2020 understanding of religion, I do not consider myself to be religious. I consider myself to be a believer in God and indeed a believer in Jesus Christ, but not a, a religious person. What's going to be new in 20 years? Well, hopefully things like time travel will be publicly available. I think we can make that happen by the end of this decade. I think in 20 years we're going to have things like teleportation all over the planet, frankly. Now we're going to have more artificial intelligence, I think, more than likely. So I think we're going to get rid of a lot of negative things as well. Like we're just going to get rid of things like poverty and um, homelessness, hunger. We have to get rid of these things. That we have to make them a thing of the past somehow. So, which means we have to care more about each other. So we have to start doing that, guys, frankly, and stop viewing everybody around us as someone to compete with. We need to start viewing people as uh, collaborators, potential collaborators, if not actual collaborators, and start thinking about ways in which we can all work together on things and help each other out because we're all part of this. Um, I think as the great musician Prince said, "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing we call life." So, might be willing to expose the Illuminati or aliens. Um, the Illuminati. What is the Illuminati? Frankly, aren't we all part? Those of us who are awake to reality and understanding of the way things need to go and the direction that we need to go in. Aren't we all Illuminati in a sense? Isn't that what it originally meant to be Illuminati? Well, if there are people who say they are who are seeking to move things in a bad direction, that's not really Illuminati. That's not enlightenment. That's regression, and those people are not real Illuminati. They're fake. So uh, there's fake Illuminati. I'm sure. I know there is. So yeah, whoever they are, watch out. I would definitely disclose the presence of extraterrestrials. In fact, I believe I've already done that. Yes, I believe there are extraterrestrials, and yes, I've seen them. Uh, I think I know where some of them are. So, sure, absolutely. Card Ingus, yep, I'm planning on it. Do I believe in what the time traveler said? Yeah, quite likely he's for real. I don't have a ghost story because I don't believe in ghosts. Uh, they're not real. 1974, high aviation pilot. Did Oprah give it? I don't know. It would be interesting to see if Oprah does end up. It will be interesting to see. I mean, if Oprah ends up running for president in 2024, I think that's you know pretty clear that Michael Phillips is telling you the truth. I mean, that'll be huge, huge evidence. And I mean, he's already been providing evidence. So, I mean, here I am. I'm Michael Macintosh. How did I break the time travel paradox? I did not. I don't really know what you mean by that, frankly. If you could explain, I'd appreciate it. Frida, that is your opinion. Uh, Maybe your son's smart near the present. I don't know what you mean there. No. This is live, David Donaldson. We are live right now. This is not pre-recorded. My thoughts on veganism. Actually, I was a vegetarian and indeed vegan for a long time. Um, I think it's good, honestly. I think it's healthy. I think it's probably better for the environment. I think more people should explore that as an option, and there should be more options available for those people who want to do that. Um, and I think if more people had that as an option, we probably would just pretty much abandon eating meat collectively. That's what I think. But if people want to eat it, I'm not going to insist that they don't. I think that you have the right to choose, and freedom of choice is your God-given right. So um, I would just encourage anybody to learn more about other options besides eating meat, and maybe we can, work on providing those kinds of options, providing more options for um, people who want to eat meat free. Yeah, I can understand all of your skepticism and cynicism, frankly. So don't think that your comments are going to offend me or upset me or anything because my favorite, if you're going to be the president, please. Yeah, global warming. I do believe that we need to start working more seriously on environmental issues because we have to take care of this planet. We've only got one planet to live on for right now. So I am not connected to Michael Phillips. I don't know him. He says that we've met. I don't remember it, and I do believe it is possible for sure. Uh, my favorite food is. It's a good question. I like a lot of vegetarian stuff, frankly. I think my favorite food is like those Morningstar Farms burgers, veggie burgers, or like Morningstar Farms veggie bacon. If you guys ever had that, I like that stuff a lot. I like, I just like, peanut butter and banana and stuff. I like peanut butter and banana sandwiches. I like pasta, spaghetti, vegetarian pasta. I like beer, like wine. Um, simple stuff. I like potatoes. Today I had for dinner. I had just baked potato with beans, and it was really good. You know, I like that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I like vegetarian food. Call me whatever you want, but kept me healthy for a long time. So, um, but I'm not vegetarian anymore. I used to be. I kind of fell off the wagon, so to speak. But I would like to get back on it. if there were more options for me. What can I prove that I'm real? Well, look, I'm right. You see, look, I'm real. There you go. I've never traveled back in time to kill my grandfather, so why would I do that? Why would anybody do that? I'm How am I going to run for presidency? I'm doing that right now. I think I'm campaigning right now. I mean, I'm talking to you guys. You guys are all in here, and I'm talking to you. And there's 19 people in here right now. Apparently, 18. Well, it's not for another. 2024 is five. I got all 2020, 21, 22, 23, and 24. So that's 5 years. A lot can happen in 5 years. I mean, a lot's happened in the last 5 days. So in 5 years, do you not think that the entire world will have heard of me? Everybody who has the internet will probably hear about me in by 5 years from now. So if I just if that's all I do is make YouTube videos, uh, then I think the whole world will have heard about me by then. At least most of the United States will, and that's all that matters. And as far as this campaign goes, that's all that matters because, it's US voters, US citizens who elect the president. Let's see. Climate change and global warming. I do believe we have environmental issues. I don't think we can deny that, but I do think that climate change is a somewhat natural phenomenon and somewhat man-made phenomenon. I think that humans can do something in terms of how we are changing the way we conduct our day-to-day lives to minimize our impact, our negative impact on the planet. And I think there's also more that we can do to adapt to the inevitability of natural climate change. I think climate change is a mix of things. I don't know that we have a substantial impact on it. I've never really seen any convincing evidence of that or data about that. But I think as a matter of good practice, we probably should be more considerate to our planet, frankly. Um, we need to stop manufacturing, like mass producing products that make giant islands of garbage in the Pacific Ocean, for instance. We need to think more carefully about how we um, produce products for day-to-day consumption, like plastic bags and you know plastic everything. And we just don't really need to be doing that. We could probably be pursuing more biodegradable things as product choices, and using different kinds of fuel for transportation and electricity and home energy and whatever else we need fuel and energy for. I think we need to start reducing. I think the most probably deadly, dangerous thing is nuclear energy, and we need to really stop with that. Nuclear energy is just, I don't think anyone would argue that nuclear energy is a good idea who isn't getting paid by the nuclear energy industry. Um, so I'm not on their payroll, so I'm going to tell you the truth. And even if I were on their payroll, I would still tell you the truth. And I don't think that I'd choose to be on their payroll, frankly, because I have this thing called a conscience. And and one thing I have to say is, it disgusted me, frankly, to hear Barack Obama talking about the benefits of nuclear energy when he was president. I was appalled by that, frankly, and I think that was irresponsible of him. And I think that maybe he was getting paid somewhere for that. Shame on you, Barack Obama. Uh, let's see. Yes, I do believe that time travel is real. What about military in the future? What about it? What would you like to know? I don't know. Okay. Is Trump going to be great? Why? You don't think he's great already? You should tell him that, not me. I'm not him, so don't confuse me with Donald Trump, okay? Please. I seek not to make America great or keep America great. I seek to uh, be able to say that we have made America the greatest that it possibly can be. All right? So let's do that. I can't do that myself. Nobody can do that by themselves. We need to do it together. It's that simple. Okay. No need to apologize to me for anything, Milky. Milky? Is that your name? It's a nice name. If there is anyone who can stop World War III, it's you. It's you. I think that we can stop World War III. You know, we should get on the phone to the White House and say, look, stop doing this, that, and that, and like, we need to think more intelligently and be okay. We're back. It was off for a little bit there. What music that I like the most? Let's see. Oh, hold on. Let me go back a bit. What year was I born? I was born in 1974. I remember me. I from New York. New York. I started traveling to New York a lot when I was in my late teens. So I'm kind of a New Yorker, guys, as well. Kind of. But I'm still a Boston kid. Sorry. Yeah, first ever YouTube president. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, Donald Trump was the first Twitter president, so maybe I'll be the first YouTube president. And Barack Obama was supposedly the first ever black president. Allegedly. I don't believe that though. Are you excited or scared? I am not excited or scared. Uh, I look at it as a job, and that's what it is. You know, everybody needs a job. Uh, I'm applying for the job to you guys. This is my job application. I hope you will hire me because I will do a good job. It's that simple. What are my plans for the USA? Well, gonna get us in a gigantic nuclear war. No, just kidding. No, I'm not gonna do anything like that. That's nuts. What I'm gonna do is hopefully focus on domestic issues and improving the United States itself and helping get America on the path to being the greatest that it possibly can be. And that's really what I aspire to. And by extension, helping the rest of the world because we have such a profound influence and impact on the rest of the world that by getting our house in order, so to speak, we can help get the rest of the world in order. That's what I'm aspiring to, you guys. So maybe I like to think that maybe if I am president, I will be the first global citizen president. I look at myself as, not just an American, but a citizen of the planet Earth, frankly, and a human being. And I believe that everything we do has an impact on the whole world. So, and we're also interconnected at this point that we need to be more careful about how we think of ourselves. And I've chosen to accept this reality and change the way I think about myself and my uh, impact on the rest of the world and seek to forge a different path. And I hope you guys will come with come with us for the ride because it's gonna be really interesting, right? No, I'm not a globalist. I hate the idea of globalism. I think it's disgusting and it's anti-human. Um, I think of myself as a citizen of the earth with a responsibility towards uh, the country that will reflect that mentality that the mentality of global citizenry that I think we should all start really trying to embrace because um, that's what we are. We can't avoid it. When you travel and stop war, there wouldn't be a war to begin with. I can't answer anything about that because I don't know enough about that, but I do believe that if time travelers do manage to stop something like that, then yeah, it wouldn't exist. And it wouldn't exist when they go back to where they came from either. The negative effects of that event would not exist. So, all right, let's see what else. Remember you, Luis Figueroa. I will do my best to try to remember this little post that you made here in the live chat. Yeah, I will. I mean, I think we'll probably have already been to Mars by the time I get anywhere near the White House. So it looks like, you know, companies like SpaceX in particular are going to make it there before 2024, if not definitely shortly thereafter. So, what music do I like the most? Well, I'm a musician, so I have to say that I like my own music the most. If you guys want to check out my work, do a YouTube search for Young Astronauts Club. That is a band that I've had going for. We've been putting out music for the last 25 years, although we started our very embryonic stages started literally about 30 years ago, maybe longer. We were around for a long time in various forms and incarnations before we really started putting things out seriously in 1995. Um, but yeah, I like a lot of different kinds of music. I mean, I grew up listening to punk rock and electronica and jazz, classical, you name it, kind of avant-garde stuff a lot. I like a lot of like kind of out there things. Lately, I've been really enjoying the cyberpunk genre, sort of futuristic punk rock. I think that's pretty cool. Um, there's a lot of it here on YouTube, actually. Some very interesting cyberpunk mixes. I've been enjoying those a lot because, it gives me hope that punk rock is still alive and gonna morph into something that is making use of the new technology rather than reacting to it. I think we need to probably try to do that, frankly, rather than um, rail against the system and the technologies that exist. We need to just take over them and make them into us. What about it, Johnny Rotten? What do you think? Um, Johnny Rotten's a great guy. If you guys ever get the opportunity to hear Public Image Limited, it's a band from England that started in the late 70s uh, by a guy named John Lydon, Johnny Rotten, who was in the Sex Pistols, the sort of quintessential punk rock band, which of whose album Nevermind the Bollocks has been on my uh, turntable pretty consistently since I was a child. I was only like 3 or 4 when they came out, but I remember it and I've never forgotten it. And I've always had a copy of their album, whether it's on record or CD or tape or whatever. I've always had that. Yeah, the Sex Pistols. Check that out. And Kraftwerk is another favorite band of mine. Kraftwerk from Germany. And like Sonic Youth a lot. Have you guys heard Sonic Youth? Or Swans. They kind of came out of the same scene, but Glenn Branca from New York. I like all that kind of no wave stuff as well. I really like that music because it's really cool how you can turn noise into a song. And I like Public Enemy a lot. They to me they're like the godfathers of modern hip hop and rap, and a lot of stuff, really, frankly. Um, what else? Do President 2024. I'm not looking for 2020 because I'm pretty sure that would be a waste of time. Trump has got that pretty much sewn up, I think, and I hope he does a good job for another 4 years. I think he's done fine so far. Let's hope nothing really stupid happens. I'm praying for you, Donald Trump. I want you to succeed. Believe. Um, let's see. What do you think about Duarte, the Filipino guy? Philippines business is their business. I don't you know, I don't really focus on what they're doing, frankly. Who is going to be my assistant? You mean vice president? I'm hoping that the author Ann Coulter will be my vice president because I think she is a brilliant human being and should be in some level of government in the future, and will be helpful towards helpful to the American people in being so. So let's see. Do you think where am I? Do you know enough about politics to be president? Yeah, I do. Imagine this weirdo as president. Hey, Bernie Sanders, don't you have a campaign to run right now rather than trolling me? And you, Bernie Sanders, you think I'm a weirdo? I mean, seriously, look in the mirror, Bernie. Yeah, yeah. Zooming would be really surprised also. But let's see what happens, right? Does NASA land on Mars? I think SpaceX will do it first, and I think that the CIA has already been to Mars with DARPA projects. I was part of one when I was 6, so we've already been to Mars, you guys. NASA, I believe, went to Mars in the 1960s and just didn't tell anybody. So I sound like this is my goodbye video. This is just a hello, Bernie. I think you're projecting your future loss onto me. I think you're gonna lose in 2020. So this do, do I play any sports? I used to. I'm not really that into sports, frankly. I do like bowling. Uh, I like chess, if you count that. If you count bowling as a sport, either. I like swimming. I do lift weights. Uh, I like to pump iron, like Arnold. You know. Um, yeah, I like swimming. I like sports more for the workout health aspect of it, not the competitiveness of it of them. I like to just physical activity going because you have to stay healthy somehow and fit. And I think I'm pretty healthy and pretty fit, despite having been injured for some reason. Who's out to get me? Um, Significantly injured in my lifetime, but I'm doing fine right now, and I hope to continue that way. I won't die on you, Bernie. Bernie, don't die on us either. We need you to stay alive and lose to Donald Trump in 2020, okay? Do us all a favor and stay alive and lose. Yeah, I'm not the guy from the Apex TV video. Although I am in an Apex TV video, I did make a video for them. If you look, you'll see a video that I made a while back. I had a beard and like shorter hair and stuff. Um, that video has been talked about and shared all over the planet at this point in a lot of different media. But I'm not Michael Phillips. Am I straight? Yes, I'm straight, heterosexual, married man. I got married 15 years ago to my wife Crystal, my still wife Crystal. We have 2 children, one 10 and one 6. Yeah, I'm straight. I'm running, as far as I'm concerned, I'm running right now for 2024. Matt, which foods that you dislike the most? Let's see. Well, I don't like food with blood in it. So when you get to like European food and things with like blood sausage and stuff, I don't like any of that. I don't like you know, I mean, when you get to Asian food, I don't like dog or cat or or things like that. Um, Pigeon. I believe they eat pigeon in some cultures. Is this true? I had heard that the Chinese food restaurants in my neighborhood growing up served pigeon instead of chicken. I would not like to eat pigeon. I hope I never have eaten pigeon. And, let's see, like rabbit. I don't really like rabbit. I've only tried it a handful of times and I didn't. I tried to like it, but it's a cute little bunny. I don't want to eat it. Um, let's see. How are you? I am good. How are you, NATO? Hi, NATO. Emily and Evelyn. Am I? That's up to you. I mean, you guys are the people to decide. Ultimately, I think. Show us them aliens. I can't. They're not here right now, and I can't just go to where they are. So I would if I could. Thank you, weird kid. I hope so. Are you a Republican or Democrat? Let me speak frankly about that right here. I don't believe that there's much difference between either the Republican or Democrat Party. I mean, there is, but it's the differences are more or less trivial and superficial in many ways. Some are very different. Some ways they're very different. So in the ways that are very different, I'm leaning more towards the Republican side of the aisle because I believe that we do need to exercise caution in certain things when it comes to the decision making process for shaping and preserving a better outcome. If that makes any sense for our country. I don't. I think the Democrat Party has a tendency to just jump right in the deep end and not really think too much in advance before making certain decisions. I think it's important to use your intelligence before making decisions, and I think that it's important not to be led by your emotions when it comes to things, and that's why I, I do consider myself fairly conservative. Um, but not so conservative that certain things aren't are, are off the table. But I do believe that it's important to exercise caution and be careful when making important decisions. So yeah, I would favor the right side of the aisle when it comes to certain things. So in that regard, I would seek to um, obtain the Republican nomination. I don't think I could be a Democrat because it would necessitate me working in agreement with certain things that I just couldn't bring myself to agree with because they don't make sense, don't make logical sense. I think that it's, you know, a lot of the rhetoric of the left is just too emotionally based, and I just think it's dangerous to lead with your emotions. I think it's important to lead with wisdom, and I just see lately that the Republican side of the aisle is doing that more than the left side. Maybe at one point that was different, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe not. I'd have to do more research on the history of things. I do think that people who are led by their emotions are going to end up failing and causing failure for others and suffering and misery. And um, so I would do everything to kind of stay away from being led by emotions. And I do think that the Democratic Party is, has been behaving like uh, little children who just want to insist on their way and don't really care how it's going to happen. I don't think that's the adult grown up thing to do. And I think that the Republican side of the aisle is a bit more grown up and realistic. So yeah, I would want to work with the Republicans, frankly. And so sorry if you don't like that, but you know, them's the breaks. Okay. Thank you, weird kid. I hope I will be. What do you plan to do for the next 2 years of my life? Next 2 years of my life? Um, a lot. I can't tell you all of my plans because I believe that if I do that, that there are people who would attempt to sabotage my plans. So I think it's best for right now to let you know things one day at a time and for me to keep my bigger picture in focus. Um, what would be my slogan? My slogan. Well, I think if anything, I want to say that we made America the greatest. Right. So by 2024, I think we're going to be able to say that we did that. We made America the greatest again. So put that on your slogan. Put that on your bumper sticker. Macintosh 2024 made America the greatest again. We, not me, not Donald Trump, not the Trump administration, everybody together. We, right? Um, why do I love Germany? Why not? You got a problem with Germany? Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. Well, I love Germany. I like a lot of European countries. Being European American and all, um, I have a very strong deep connection with a lot of Europe, and Germany happens to be one of those countries. I think the people are fine people, and I think that the modern Germany is in a moving in a really great direction and is contributing great things to the world. And I would like to see them continue to do that. I would like to uh, continue to help. It's just I would like to see America continue to help Europe, uh, you know, do well and be the great success that it can be and that it is. And I would like to see more collaboration and partnership between the United States and the European Union and Britain, whether it chooses to stay in or out of the European Union eventually. Who knows what will happen? They could change their minds. I would like to see more collaboration and partnership between the US and Russia and Europe and Britain and China and everybody else. I think we all need to, you know, start seeking ways to cooperate and work on things together because that will do more to ensure a better future for humanity. Please don't be like Trump. Why do you have a problem with Trump? What's he done to you? I mean, seriously, what has he done to you? Did he do something to you? Did he do anything to you? No, he didn't, right? So why don't you chill out? um, all right, skip down a little bit. Let's see. What are some dark stuff you saw when you were working for the government or saw in your missions? Uh, I've already said everything that I am probably ever going to say about missions. The rest is pretty much for now classified, I think, probably, or should at least remain classified because I don't want to endanger people. It's that simple, right? Do I like bacon? Unfortunately, yes. I prefer vegetarian bacon, like imitation, like Morningstar Farms brand. That's great stuff. Do I think there will be someone in the future with an evil agenda congruent to Hitler? No. Do I like school? Depends on the school. Been to a lot of different schools in my lifetime, and some of it I liked, some of it I didn't. I don't know. I think education is important for all people, but I also think that you need to be pursuing education that you personally are interested in and is something that you uh, enjoy and are good at and are seeking to hone and develop your skills and abilities, like your inherent natural talents. I think taking, say, uh, an artist and dumping them in a vocational school is not really useful to anybody. I think taking a scientist and uh, making them, I don't know, learn economics is not really useful education. I think it's all relevant to the individual. The K through 12 school system corrupt. I think that's a broad statement. I think there's corruption all over the place, and that needs to be worked out. I mean, nothing's perfect, basically. Am I a time traveler? No, I am not, but I have time traveled. Pizza, a zip, I am not trying to profit. If I was trying to profit, I wouldn't be doing this, frankly. But do I know Kim Jong? I do not know Kim Jong from North Korea. My thoughts about him? I don't know. I mean, he seems like an intelligent man. Um, I think maybe he engages in rhetorical speech that he feels like he maybe has to do to keep control of his military and not be have a coup staged against him or something. But I think that we're going to do everything we possibly can to improve relations between North Korea and uh, the United States. We're going to continue to try to help them, I think, and help make things better for their people, especially because, you know, nobody deserves to suffer. We don't want to see people suffering. We want to help people, and we want everybody to be happy and healthy and prosperous. And we all have different ideas as to how that can be achieved, but I think we all want that for everybody and for each other ultimately. So basically, we need to sit down and talk about things with everybody, and figure out how we're going to make this a better world for everybody. It's really that simple, but getting to that point can be complicated sometimes when some people don't want it to happen. It's pretty simple. Some people don't want it. Well, we have to stop those people from getting in the way of it happening. Well, I like Canada too, Shane. As I've said, I did live in Canada for I think it was like 2 years, actually, almost 2 years. And I've spent a lot of time in Canada, and some of my family is of Canadian, so I'm technically a Canadian as well as an American. I'm a Canadian American. Canadians who ended up in America. So, um, and Americans who ended up in Canada. It's just like a constant roundabout and back and forth thing. But I'm on the American. Uh, I'm American. Uh, the Snowman Dave, is Trump cool with Kim Jong? Well, I think what we need to realize is that we, the people, are what matter when it comes to resolving things. It's not about Trump. It's not about Kim Jong. It's about people, and it's about the American people and the Korean people. And can we all get along with each other? Perhaps in spite of our governments. Now, it seems that maybe our governments have the potential of getting along with each other, but I don't think that really should be the thing we should focus on. I think is, can we get along with each other as people? And maybe that's where the solution lies, not in whether our elected representatives like each other or whatever, because you know they work for us. Trump works for us. Now, on the other hand, Kim Jong doesn't necessarily. That's not. He doesn't necessarily. He's necessarily employed by the North Korean people, but You know, does that really matter? Shouldn't we be trying to reach the people of North Korea ultimately? And whether or not our government gets along with their government, isn't that really what it's about? Mm. JC football, WTF. Yep. Are we living in the Matrix? It depends. Right? Do you choose to? I'm actually live streaming on a microwave oven, not a toaster, and it's hooked up to a car battery. So there you go. Do a peace sign if I'm real. What do you think I am? Like imaginary? Here, I'm not going to do a peace sign. I'm no hippie. Okay. How do I feel about modern day Nazis? Um, I don't believe they exist. There aren't any. I mean, the Nazi party ended with the death of Adolf Hitler, and it just doesn't exist. I think to use the kind of rhetoric that people are using to demonize people, such as calling them Nazis, just because they disagree with their views on things, that's just stupid. I would never, um, insult people by calling them that. I think in this day and age, most, if not all, people are far too intelligent to support an ideology such as uh, the Nazi agenda that Adolf Hitler uh, tried to make happen in Germany in the 1930s and 40s. Just it failed. It's over. It ended, and it died in 1945. So let it die. Stop trying to accuse people of being like that, because guess what? If you actually sit down and have a conversation with most people, or with anybody really, nobody's like that. So it's third grade. It's lower than third grade to be like that. So uh, is he taking out like that Iran guy? You'd have to ask Trump about that stuff. I'm not Donald Trump, so I don't know what he's doing. Say the N word. The N word. Let me see. What N word? What do you mean by the N word? Nah, 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 nah. Trying to think of some good N words here. N word. N. Oh, yeah, here's a good N word. Nirvana. They're good, right? It's a good N word. Nirvana. You know, the band that Kurt Cobain had back in the 90s. Yeah, that's a good N word. Do I want to be president of the USA? No, I really don't, but I'm gonna try to do it because if I don't do it, someone horrible will. And I don't think I'm a horrible person. Can I get flown out to the White House to meet you? Uh, you can fly yourself to the White House. How does that sound? Kim Jong Un threatened us. Well, see, that's just hypothetical. And I don't look, if I'm going to end up being president, nobody's going to be threatening the United States because nobody's that stupid, first of all. And nobody has a problem with the United States. What people have a problem with is uh, foreign influence in the United States meddling with how our government operates. And that's the honest truth. If you want the truth, that is it. People don't like foreign influence in America swaying America's government to take certain actions. People don't like that. And if you are a real American, you shouldn't like it either. Um, you should like it when your government accurately represents you and work for you rather than operates under the uh, persuasion of an agenda that is separate to your interests and the interests of the American people. And you should be brave and not a coward and recognize that when your government is doing that, you have a responsibility to stand up and say, no, I do not want this. Stop what you are doing. And you do not represent me. You do not speak for me. You are not operating with my consent or permission. You need to do that. And you need to stop being told what to think, how to feel, what to say, who you can say things to, who you can say what to. You, America, need to stop doing that and stop letting that happen. If you disagree with your government, don't be afraid to say, I disagree. If you don't support something, don't be afraid to say, I don't support this. If you don't trust the decision that's being made, don't be afraid to say, I don't trust the decision that's being made. I don't trust the reasons for this decision being made. I don't have enough information about this thing that's happening. Why don't you give me the information first, the accurate information, so I can make up a decision for myself and tell you what to do because you're the government. You work for me. That's what you need to do, right? The government's not here to tell you what to do. The government is here to be told what to do by you. And if they're not doing that, then it's not your government anymore. You need to kick them up the you know what and say, hey, you're not working for me. Start working for me. Stop working for these other guys, whoever these other guys are. Well, I allow you to time travel. keep in touch, and we'll see what happens by that point. If that's my decision, then you know we'll have to figure out some guidelines as to how we can operate and figure out who can do that and who can't do that. And what year did I travel to? I traveled to a few different points, but the earliest that I traveled forward uh, was some point in the 3000s, I think. Yeah, it was at some point in the 3000s. So, and I looked back on all of this. So, literally, right now, I'm living out something that I've already seen the outcome of. It's really strange, but it's like I'm locked in a loop. Do I like sex? I'm I'm a dad, so obviously I already have an Instagram account. You can look me up on my website. It's posted there. I am from 1974. I'm not Michael Phillips. Litecoin, it's like the Pepsi Cola of colas. There's still nothing, and will be probably nothing better than the Bitcoin. So go with Bitcoin, you guys. Do I drive a flying car? No. Right now, I take the bus a lot. I walk. Um, I fly in planes, regular planes from the airport. I drive in a regular car when I do drive a car. Gasoline. I'm hoping to save up for a Tesla within the next while. I speak painfully slow. Well, here, let me speak a little slower for you just to cause you more pain, because I think we all need to slow down just a little bit, frankly, because, in my opinion, we are quick to do everything, and that's why our quality of life kind of sucks at this point in human history, because we're not taking our time. We're not thinking things through fully. We're rushing to make decisions based on emotions rather than intelligence. We're rushing to uh, satisfy immediate cravings and uh, childish desires like greed, and we're basing our decisions on fear and all kinds of things that are not indicative of humanity being very uh, wise or intelligent. So, yeah, I think we do need to slow down. And I think I will slow down even more so that, especially if I become president, we will think more, because that's what we need to be doing, is thinking more. Yeah, I do know that in some timeline I became president. Now the question is it this timeline? I hope so. We'll see what happens. My favorite movie is 2001 A Space Odyssey. I also really like the movie Europa Report. Um, what else do I like? The Decline of Western Civilization, Part 1, Punk Rock Years, I think is an excellent movie. Um, recent movies I liked were He Never Died, starring Henry Rollins. That's a great movie. Uh, I liked the entire Twin Peaks series. Um, I like a lot of science fiction. I liked Oblivion with Tom Cruise. Um, I like the Terminator movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And let's see what else. I'm trying to think. Other movies. Man of Steel was pretty good. I like that one. I like a lot of movies, you guys. I have a pretty sizable DVD collection, and I still have VHS. I used to have Betamax, but got rid of that for some stupid reason because it's actually better than VHS. I don't know if you guys knew that, but Betamax is higher quality than VHS, and for some reason everybody moved to VHS. But on the West Coast, people still used Betamax. Um, West Coast of the United States, but we had Betamax. Then we switched to VHS for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, I know what the New World Order conspiracy is. I don't know that it's necessarily conspiratorial. It's just sort of an inevitability that we do have a one world outcome. I think the question is, what type of one world are we going to accept? Are we going to accept one that limits our free will and our humanity, or are we going to help to bring one about that um, accentuates our individuality and brings out the best in all of us and enables us and allows us to live up to our full potential as individuals? I would prefer the latter, uh, and I would really not like to see a one world under the control of a handful of elites. I think that is not what humanity is meant for. I think we're meant for much greater things. So, AI dangerous. I think AI has the potential to be dangerous, just like a nuclear weapon has the potential to be dangerous if used in a bad way. Um, a nuclear weapon is not really that dangerous if it's just sitting there doing nothing. And neither is an AI if it's just, you know, cleaning your kitchen or uh, vacuuming your floor or whatever. I don't think that AI has to be dangerous. I think it can be if it becomes uh, autonomous and like in Terminator when Skynet started to perceive humanity as a threat and decide to start working against the humans. I think AI could become dangerous that way. I think maybe that's what Terminator was trying to warn us about, the Terminator movies. So, yeah. A draft for World War III. I don't think there's going to be a World War III. I think we have the choice to avert it, and I think we're smart enough that we're not going to have a World War III. I don't think we, and I don't think anybody wants that either, right? Uh, I don't understand the science behind how a time machine works. I'm just not that smart, or I haven't gotten that information. So I don't know. Uh, the the time spacecraft that I was on board when I was a child, it's like a UFO, like UFO. It was a like a flying saucer piloted by extraterrestrials, and it went through time and space. The UFO that people see, those are not just spacecraft, but they're also time craft. Okay. What games do I like? I like chess. I played chess since I was a child, and I'm pretty good at it. Uh, Hi, Resi. Welcome from Apex TV. Can you stop being silly? Maurice, do you want a war? Is that why you're asking when drafting will start? Because it doesn't have to happen, you know. You're choosing that if that's what happens. You don't. We don't have to make these choices, and I'm not making that choice as an individual. So you don't have to either. Uh, Maybe in 2024. I didn't spell my name right. Well, that's how you spell my name. So. People like to spell Macintosh differently, but the way I spell it is Macintosh. You good? Yeah, I think I'm pretty good after 2 hours of live streaming. So, um, my son is somewhere you can't see him. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? It's kind of a personal question. Where's your mom? You gotta tell me where your mom is first. Just respect my privacy, you guys. Come on. Trap music. There is no such thing as winning a war. When you come to understand that, please let me know, because viewing war as a winnable thing is just idiotic. I think you might be smarter than that, though, and that's why you're in here. All right. Um, so we just keep getting the same questions kind of over and over, and if you guys want to go back and read and look at my other videos and my radio uh, broadcasts and other parts on my website. Um, yeah. Well, that's an interesting question. Kanye West. I don't think Kanye West is going to be president. You guys, I don't think he's really suitable, frankly. I like him, but I think he's insane. And I think he's too insane to be president. I don't think he's got the right temperament. You know, I think, and he's admitted to being to having bipolar disorder, and I think he's just kind of bringing attention to himself to sell more music, frankly. Uh, Although I am also a musician, And in fact, I'm a real musician. Sorry, Kanye. I'm actually a musician. Like, can play instruments and read music and write music. I don't, you know, I can do everything you can do and then some, and then a lot more. But yeah, I don't think Kanye West would make a good president, you guys. I think you should avoid that, frankly. Uh, all right, you guys, please stop asking me about World War III because we should hope that it never happens, and we should be working to make sure that it doesn't happen. Okay. So if you can stop asking me about who wins World War III and these kind of things, that's just stupid. Nobody wins a war. Did anybody win World War One or two? Did anybody win the Vietnam War? Did anybody win in Iraq? No. People lost. People died. Nobody wins. There is no. It's not like a sport. So just please stop being stupid, okay? You guys are better than this. I know it. The media are not boycotting me. Um, I've been in the newspapers many, many times in the last year. Um, I'm assuming I'll be in more media coming up. No, I'm not mad. Right. I'm getting a little tired though. I've been on here for 2 hours, so and I'm a little hungry as well. So I think I'm gonna go get a snack or a glass of water or something. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.